Hi, it's November 2021. China's stock market crashed in 2015, 2016. What caused it? What can we learn from it? Appreciate a like if you like this video and do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Fantastic year from mid-2014. Over 5,000 points at its peak. Look at this chart. 1 year of rally from mid-2014 to reach over 5,000 points in mid-2015. Isn't it fantastic? It took another 7 months for it to bottom out to reach a very low base. But that fall that took 7 months is too strong. The climb back was so difficult, you see. It took almost 2 years till late 2018 for it to reach around 3,400 points, not even half of what it has fallen. What causes the fall? Too much margin buying that led to a burst out? Or the renminbi depreciating too fast? Or could it be state-owned enterprise default to scare the market? Then the subsequent climb for the 2 years that is much lower, is it due to a better understanding of margin trading? Renminbi depreciation, a cause or a consequence? There's a company which is state-owned enterprise that is the first to default. Look at this news by New York Times. Or is it general worries over China debt? Question raised then is whether the Chinese authority will push through the financial reform, allowing companies that have very poor balance sheet to be defaulting. That's the worry, isn't it? The deja vu, you actually look at it as compared to Evergrande crisis that the financial media from the West have been complaining about. Renminbi was so strong in 2014 at 6.1. From almost 3 years, it was at 6.2 and below. But good days didn't last. Until August 2015, there's a fall in the China market due to renminbi depreciating too fast. But you see, too strong renminbi isn't that good for export, so I can understand renminbi depreciating may be good. And also there's also a debt crisis. Look at the first state-owned enterprise that default on a domestic bond. The funny part is, the stock market falls 2 months before the participation in August 2015. Renminbi break above 6.2 and it tested just below 7 by end of 2016. Market rebound isn't that strong as those who bought close to the peak in the mid-2015, you remember that it crosses above 5,000 points. So when Chinese market, the Shanghai index, rebound to close to 3,400 by end of 2016. It's not even close to the peak. Maybe the markets weren't too comfortable with renminbi. Renminbi strengthens back to around 6.3 by around 2018. But too strong renminbi isn't good for the exports, we know that. But USD renminbi weakens after April 2018. Why? Not forgetting that Trump was appointed US President in January 2017, Biden was appointed in January 2021. Look at this, renminbi depreciating from around 6.3 all the way to above 7. Market just doesn't like the sudden change in renminbi. But trade war did burden the renminbi. At the same time, it also hit the equities market in China. So what happens for Shenzhen index during 2015 and 2016? From 18,000 points in mid-2015, it turned to as low as 9,000 points. Almost 50% fall. Same experience as Shanghai index. Then it surged stronger since January 2009, all the way to 14 over 1,000 points. Almost 100% jump. Hong Kong market recovered stronger since January 2016, but that was only for these 2 years. From January 2016, from below 18,300 points, it surged all the way to above 33,000 points, only to meet with the victim of trade war that causes it to tank, and as well as the Hong Kong protest wave on it, so it was being fluctuating within this range of 24,000 points to around 30,000 points. All things will pass, but when? Financial reform back then in 2015, 2016. Now tech regulations. Let's do a quick recap. What happened? In 2015, we know that there's a first state-owned enterprise that default on its domestic bonds. RMB shot depreciation from 6.2 all the way to close to 7. Question raised then is whether authorities will push ahead with financial reforms. Isn't it a deja vu right now when there's talk about Evergrande debt crisis? In 2016, what happened? January 2016, Shanghai and Shenzhen indexes hit bottom. USD RMB was around 6.4, with RMB as strongest in the year before. And then subsequently, RMB hit back to around 6.9. In 2018-2020, what happened? US-China trade war weighed on Chinese markets. Shanghai and Shenzhen indexes were weighed down by the trade war for over a year and 2 months from January 2018 to around February 2019. Hang Seng Index only bottomed out in March 2020. In late 2020, Alibaba and IPO was halted. In 2021, Alibaba was fined $2.8 billion USD. Regulation on tutoring were implemented in July 2021, and youth gaming duration was kept within 3 months per week as announced in August 2021. The implementation of Personal Information Protection Law was also implemented in November 2021. With all this in place, isn't there a similarity in USD RMB fluctuation as well as the regulations back then? Were there a push to have financial reform? And right now you look at what's happening, the tech regulations. But all things will pass. Chinese market has proved its resilience, and with more use for RMB, with RMB internationalization, I believe the financial markets in China will open up more and more. And that also gives us the insight that at this price point of around 6.2 to 6.4, this is a point that I believe the Chinese authorities will be very optimistic about renminbi ban and prefer to keep this. With financial markets being liberalized in China, I believe they will also slowly open up for its citizens to invest overseas. The question right now is, when is it? Is it this year or next year? I believe it will be soon, very soon. Of course, there might be regulations, but regulations is better than acting in a grey area where there's no clear rules. As always, this should not be construed as any investment or trading advice. Do stay tuned and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can be kept updated promptly when I release new videos to reflect the changing market conditions.